An alarming new report from the government about the number of security breaches at airports since 9/11. The Homeland Security Department counts 25,000 in the last decade, and those are just the ones that we know about. Most recently, a stun gun was found on a JetBlue plane that had already landed in New Jersey. The TSA argues the number of breaches are only, quote, a tiny fraction of the more than 5.5 billion travelers that we've screened effectively since 9/11. But doesn't it only take one for an attack? And should the TSA be focusing less on groping little kids and more on doing its job? Now, Dana, people are very angry at the TSA. I mean, every time you go through those lines, I'm one of them. I get angry. I think, come on, do you really have to make me take all this stuff and my shoes off? But you say they're doing a good job.
I think that I know the TSA is everyone's favorite, punching bag. I just can't jump on the bandwagon. I think that they have been asked to do a nearly impossible job. As you said, it takes a terrorist getting it right just once. We have to get it right every single time. And the problem for them, and for all of us who go through, and I have been subjected to the searches and to the long lines as well. The problem is that there are people in the world, mothers in the world, who will strap bombs on their children and put them on planes. They will. That's why we have to have the liquid. That's why we have the liquid issue.
But we've seen
and
these guys, a lot of it. When Janet Napolitano says the system works, it wasn't the system. It was actually passengers on the plane.
Right, but we're asking them to do a nearly impossible job with the millions of people who go through airport security every day. I just do not want to beat up on the TSA. I think they're doing a very difficult job, and leadership is the issue.
Have you noticed when you get in lines of security, how many times you got to learn you're supposed to take your shoes off, you're not supposed to wear your jacket, and you get people in the line and they stop and they take out their entire everything out of their bathroom.
Always one.
They always forget the belt.
This is my solution for this is they got to have two separate lines for the experienced and for the inexperienced. It would make everybody so much happier, wouldn't it?
Exactly right. I tell you, those inexperienced ones, you just want to go out there and boom.
All right. In the meantime, take a look at something we put together. Here's what's going on over the last couple of weeks or months. Meanwhile, here's the new target demo for the TSA. Look at this video going on right here. In the meantime, there's 19-year-old Nigerians. Look, in the middle, she's a 6-year-old little girl getting patted down. The kid on the left side of the screen, another 6-year-old on his way to Disneyland from Seattle to California. And there's the 93-year-old grandmother who had to remove her adult diaper to be checked. Why is the TSA targeting people like this instead of the 19-year-old Nigerians flying across country with boarding passes?
Her wig. Her wig.
No.
It was so embarrassing. She was crying.
The problem is, I remember when I was White House press secretary, there was a day when there was extreme violence in Iraq in a market. And what they had done is they had drugged two women that had Down syndrome. They were 14 years old, and they strapped bombs to them, and they went into a market and they killed 73 people. That is the problem, that you don't know who does and who doesn't, and so it's random.
I want on a serious note, I agree with Dana about this. Look, 5.5 billion, and there's been at least 25,000 they're talking about, people that get into restricted areas to say hi to grandma and grandpa and all that stuff. They have very few of these things have been any, as far as I know, except for the TSA, the JetBlue plane. But the fact is that at some point, 9/11 will be something that was seared in our memory for a long time. It's now a decade later. We have gone to the point where security, not just on airplanes, but I live in Washington, D.C., where they've closed down our National Mall. It makes it look like an Army headquarters. At some point, we have got to move on here and ask ourselves a hard question. What things really bring us security and what things are going overboard? And I think, frankly, and by the way, if that kid, that 5-year-old kid or 6-year-old kid had on Muslim garb, they'd stop him.
But here's that you bring up a great point. There it is, profiling.
In Israel, why
and
aren't
that
we
needs
profiling?
to be discussed.
Why aren't we profiling?
We should be. We should be behaviorally profiling, not racial, not anything other than behavior. You buy one-way tickets. You're originating in one place, stopping, and then going on to another place. There are ways to look. LL, one of the most safe, if not the safest airline in the sky, profiles.
No, what I would be, look, I associate with my friend Juan Williams. He said when he gets on a plane and there are a bunch of people wearing Muslim garb, do I get nervous? Yes. Now, Juan got fired for that. Hopefully I will not be fired from here. Although I'm not sure that vote would pass this 5, but let's assume for a moment it would. But the question of profiling gets down to this. You know you're going to profile Muslims. That's what you're talking about here.
I said behavioral. I
said behavioral, but behavioral is going to be mostly people who are wearing Muslim garb.
I just think, look, the other thing that the TSA screens for, it's not just bombs, it is drugs. And there's a lot of these elderly women. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I'm terrified every time.
And there are people who will ask their elderly relatives to carry stuff for them. And Look,
Is that what your grandmother
I'm not
was going to
excited
do?
that
Greg, don't you get excited when someone
I
sits
still
next
owe
to
my
you and
mom
they're
an apology
called
for that. Sorry, Mom. You know, the thing that somebody could make a lot of money, billions of dollars, if they create an airport-approved belt. Something that
This is true.
if you don't have to take it off, that would make life so much
all
easier.
winter long, I love to wear my high-heeled boots, and
So do I.
you can't. I know, and you look good in them too. But it's like you have to think about it. Like, oh no, you want to wear slip-on shoes because I'm an experienced traveler. I'm not one of the ones that is like waiting. But I also have to say,
I got so much metal in me from all these operations before. I got to carry this card to get through the metal detector. So now I automatically get forced into those things. Go.
well, technology could be an answer for
I'm
us.
glad that you brought that up. Why not have a list of passengers who are pre-approved, who've already gone through security training?
They've tried that, and I think that I don't think enough passengers have taken advantage of it. But I
Dana
do think technology is an
Dana would
answer.
make it. You might make it. Forget the rest
How
of the
about
files.
this? How about scanners? Just pay up, pony up the money. Was it $10 billion, $15 billion? Put a scanner where you can see
You don't
everything
think that's
you're
a little
carrying.
intrusive?
Well, it is, but I like that better than blowing up in a building someday.
Well, yeah, but I mean, well, first of all, I'd sort of imagine a full scan of you, but but seriously, don't you think that is just getting a little bit too much?
Of course,
I don't think it's that big a deal, actually, because
but
the
look
people
how much
when you walk through, they're not looking at your body right then. It's like somebody else in a different room. They don't even know. They don't even see your face. I'm for the technology.
To catch a glimpse of the screenshot?
Yes,
of course
I
she
am.
has.
I'm amazed at the restraint that the TSA has in not selling those shots to TMZ or something.
yeah.
Whenever
You
a
saw when
celebrity goes
Fergie
through.
went through. Did you see all the officers crowded behind her screenshot?
I would do the same thing. That's why we need to privatize it.
You do.
High five on that one.
What privatize what?
TSA.
Security.
I say
Well, we did
privatize
that
everything.
before.
Well,
That's
we're
what
spending a
happened
lot
when
of
9/11
money.
broke
We have
down,
a
right?
recent report, $8 billion since 9/11 we've spent on these scanners. And Obama's budget for 2011, $8.1 billion going to the TSA so they can touch our junk.
Let's say this: there has not been a plane brought down during that entire period.
It's not fair, I don't think, to say that the TSA employees want to touch anyone's junk. I think they've been given a really, really tough job. They're there for our security. They deserve our support. They also deserve some better leadership.
They were patting down 2 6-year-olds.
I'm
They're
telling
worried about
you,
their jobs,
I'm just
though.
saying it's
They're doing that
random.
because they're scared.
No one gets
Sure.
fired from the TSA.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. When was the last time you heard of people getting fired from this?
What did they
bloated
expect to
bureaucracy?
find on that 6-year-old?
Well, who knows? But that's what I'm saying is that you don't know. And unfortunately, there are mothers who will do it.
Well,
All right. Bring him in.
we'll have to
I mean,
pick this up another
and that's
time.
why Greg always brings his mother with him on his flights,
Right.
so he can hide his
Coming
hope
up
in her bag.
coming up on the 5, business is not exactly booming in Berkeley, California. And are people that are standing up for the right to sit down affecting local commerce and safety? And later, we're talking on the 2012 election and the fundraising frenzy that's already underway. All that and more when the 5 returns.
Come on, ladies, it's time to pop that top. And fellas, I know you're ready to ride.